Chapter 6: Nature and Creativity. Have you ever spent time looking closely at a web and wondered at the intricate, perfect geometric pattern? Have you ever been snorkeling and seen these shapes made by sea snails that live inside the calcium spirals stuck to the rock? Isn't it just wonderful how snails, even land snails, have evolved such a visually beautiful solution to their shell structure? Have you ever seen a waterbird glide through a calm lake and watch the ripples open out and gradually disappear? Or the concentric circles raindrops open up on a water surface? Have you ever spent time looking at how rain or dew lingers on leaves in drops, each spherical drop creating a little world of reflections? Have you ever taken a close look at the yellowish blotches of lichens on old stone and admired their circular patterns and infinite variety of textures? Have you ever seen these perfectly semicircular bite marks of the leaf-cutter bee and wondered why they cut in circles? Or looked at leaves like these and noticed these artistically squiggly lines and wondered who makes them? Have you ever noticed how cleverly and symmetrically trees grow? Why are these natural forms the way they are? The scientific answer to that comes from the thinking of the brilliant naturalist Charles Darwin. In 1859, he published his theory of evolution, a theory that became the foundation of our scientific understanding of life on Earth. By looking in detail at the fossils, animals, and plant life he encountered on a 5-year journey around the world, he came to the conclusion that living forms we see around us are the product of millions of years of natural selection, a process where living organisms compete with each other and with their environment to adapt into the most successful forms. As Earth changed over millennia, life forms that didn't survive the changes and the competition from other species died out, leaving only the variety of life we find today. And the evolutionary solutions life came up with happened to be so beautiful, from tiny eggs on leaves, to roots, to honeycombs, to aerodynamic bird forms. Nature has always inspired human creativity from prehistoric times. We express that lift in spirit nature's beauty gives us in art. The examples are infinite. Even in our music, like this composition by Rimsky-Korsakov called Flight of the Bumblebee. Or this composition by Saint-Saëns, inspired by the graceful curves and movements of the swan. But our touch-of-a-button lifestyle is killing our children's creative genes. The immediate answers, solutions, and even visual art available through our digital extensions have left no room for nature to inspire us to create. The final nail of the coffin is driven home as we drive nature away from our houses, our villages, and our towns. Our busy curriculum leaves us no time to just admire nature's beauty, and our barren schools leave us nowhere to be inspired, to get that spiritual connection that motivates us to protect nature and leave space for it in our lives. So, what can we do? This course has been all about the process of teaching through nature. In the first chapter, we spoke about letting children feel the wonder of nature before asking questions to trigger cognitive processes and skills. Take that sense of wonder deeper inside the child by giving them time to look in detail. The gnarled trunk of an olive tree can become a fertile ground for stories and fantasy creatures. Indulge in a similes game triggered by "what does it look like?" questions, where a lichen growing on a soil can become scattered popcorn, or lichens growing on an old wall turn into jellyfish, sea monsters, omelets. Who knows what your children can see? You can do the "let's name it" game and imitate how scientists create names for their subjects, like this plant called stork's bill, because of the shape of the seed heads that resemble the beak of the bird. Isn't that just fun? One of the easiest animals to find at school is the snail. The variety of shell shapes and their sleeping and waking behavior makes them excellent inspirational subjects in schools. Another object easy to find in a school is a web. Take a section, draw the lines, and go wild with colors. And if there's nothing that inspires you in your nature patch today, just look up at the sky and switch on the children's imagination with those clouds. How is this helping nature? This chapter has not been about knowledge. It has aimed to trigger your sense of fun, a desire to be creative with your children, an urgency to bring about that deeper spiritual bond with nature that awakens a spirit of protecting it throughout their lives. One last word about nature art. When you use nature parts to create collages, don't bring those parts back to the classroom. Dry leaves, pine cones, branches, flowers, all these things enrich our soils, give it back the nutrients we continually take out of it. And of course, many animals hide under leaves, inside pine cones, in the blanket of detritus that tops our soils. Most of all, don't take animals into class to draw them or study them. Remember, you are a role model in how our children will behave in nature, and everything you do, say, or feel when you teach through nature will form the character of our children's bond with nature throughout their lives. You will find examples of getting creative with nature throughout the Dinyavata Action Guide. But there are two explicit examples that show you how to translate nature's patterns into art. In Year 2, children create a concert of bird songs through the topic Nature's Voice. And in Year 4, Flower Detectives shows you how to create a frieze inspired by repeated leaf patterns.